Yes, Ant-Man is the best two guard in the game. Better than SGA, but Jokic is Ant-Man's Larry Bird.
SGA is a point guard, isn't he?
Well, it depends on who you ask. Some people don't think he's a point guard.
But I mean, either way it goes, though, Gandhi's saying that Ant's better than SGA.
Shout out to Ant.
Like so if Ant is better than SGA, you already have to have felt like this already. It's kind of like when a guy wins the defensive player of the year. Like, I already think he's the best defensive player in the game. And then when he wins the defensive player of the year, this just confirms it. So the same logic with how you feel about Anthony Edwards. You already think he's better than SGA. And then you see him in the playoffs in this series. This just confirms it. That's essentially what that means. I think. I don't think he's there yet. And I'm not going off of one series where he swept somebody to automatically catapult him to the best two guard in the league. I do think he's going to be that. I do think he's going to be that because we could very well have him doing what he's doing right now, Ron. We could very well have that. And then they can go up against Denver, who I think is going to beat the Lakers. And he's not as good as he was in this series. Is he still the best two guard in the game, or are we going series to series? How are we doing this?
Well, chill, sure, he can play against the Nuggets and not play as good as he played. But if he averages anywhere around 26, 27, if he just puts up his season averages, and then after a series where once again you got to emphasize this against Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant, he looked like he was the best player in the series. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna take it a step further. He was the best player in the series. He averaged 31, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and he was dynamic. He looked unstoppable. And so with that being said, this is where it starts. Like, Chill, you have been saying this for a while, and it's been other people on this train too, where Anthony Edwards is, if not one of the best shooting guards in the league, he's going to be very soon.
2 years.
Well,
as far as I'm going, 2 years.
Yesterday was I think the official start date to Ant's the best shooting guard in the league.
I'm going
I think
2 years.
It started yesterday.
But I'm going 2 years undisputed. I'm not going 2 years where it's a conversation for other guys. I'm going 2 years undisputed. He's the best two guard in the game. That's as far as I'm going.
Ant's a playoff player.
Yeah,
that's what it is. He's a playoff player. I mean, like, if you want to go statistical, Ant's never been above league average efficiency in the regular season in his whole career, including this year. He's still below league average. But then he goes to the playoffs and the jump shot just follows him. He just that's what it is. So you gotta give credit for someone who's able to, in an environment where teams are trying to take away things that you're best at, he's able to become an elite jump shooter in the playoffs. Like, I think he's shooting 38% on pull-up threes in the playoffs so far this year.
Yikes.
Last year it was something similar. It was like 38% on pull-up threes. Yeah, so like every year, like the last 3 years, I know they lost to Memphis and they lost to Denver last year, but it's not just that, it's his defense too. Like, the moment for me where Ant like stamped himself as like a very, very good defender was that series against Memphis when he looked like the best perimeter defender of all time guarding Ja Morant. Like, he had him in purgatory. So, like, everything about Ant's game just gets better in the postseason. So I think that's a sign of that maybe he can be part of whatever conversations you want to put him in, because I know I had concerns about the Wolves pull-up shooting. I know Swiper did as well.
But it was money yesterday.
And if Ant's a consistent threat to score with a variety of shots, he can get to the rim. Still one of the best athletes in the league. And then the defense, I mean, it seems to step up in the playoffs and then gets even better in pivotal moments. It's hard to keep him out of whatever conversations you want to put him in. Like, he's really, really good.
Well, Mars, my question to you, because you said he's a playoff player, he shoots around league average during the regular season, but his game, I mean, it doesn't really change much. When I say his game doesn't really change much, he still plays at a high level. He's not a player who I'm good in the regular season. He's elite in the regular season. It's just that when he gets to the postseason, his game raises even more. This is what I'm talking about when I say, Mars, that the legend of you is made in the regular season, and that legend gets elevated come playoff time. So I feel like I'm on your page with him being a playoff player. I don't want to discount what he does in the regular season, because I think that at some point Ant's going to be an all-league defender. I think that at some point, I think Ant's going to be the league MVP at some point. I'm not, and if he's not, I think he's going to be in that conversation
before
heavily.
Tatum. You think?
Maybe. And the reason why I feel like, and the reason why I feel like that is not just because of Tatum's team. I feel like how much Anthony Edwards has affected his team, and with this being the best team that he's been on, I feel like with this being the best team that he's been on, how much better they are with him and what he does in terms of raising his game. I mean, Jason Tatum raises his game too, but I mean, we could definitely have that conversation. Yes, it could happen. Yeah, it could.
Mm-hmm.
You really can't say enough good things about Anthony Edwards. You can't. We could talk about Ant for what we got 2 hours left. We could really praise Ant for 2 hours straight. When
what I don't want to do though is can we kill the MJ comparisons? Like, let Ant be Ant. How about that?
We're not good. We can't do that. No, we can't, Chill. Because
everything's always
we have to. I mean, and when
he got the aerial aura,
athleticism, how quick he gets off the ground.
Oh, now
how he jumps and stuff. People have to do that, Chill, and that's a good thing. So I don't want it to like. And it's okay. It's okay to compare most guys to Jordan. We're talking athleticism because we know they'll never reach that Jordan. We don't expect them to be Jordan. Like nobody expects Ant to be Jordan. So for those reasons, I'm okay with the MJ comparison for Ant because it really just shows how good he is, how freak of an athlete he is, how much of a killer he really is because he has that mentality. You know what I mean? Like remember, Chill, we was talking about it last year when he was trying to check LeBron damn near full court. Like he took it upon himself, like I got this.
Yeah,
he didn't have it, but you know what I'm saying. He was trying to compete. He was a little, just too small for Bron. But I like to see that. That's
bro.
Like
his rookie year though, Ox man. Like I was like he was good, but I was like, is he ever gonna be able to shoot the ball? Like because he's like kind of boxy. He's built like a. I mean, kind of like I guess like Cam Chancellor a little bit, something like that. Yeah, just like kind of like he doesn't like yelling fluidity.
Cam Chancellor, man.
And then he just, kept developing, skills got better, but his mentality is what sets him apart. And that's why I love his game.
I asked, hey man, in the NBA, top 3 shooting guards, why am I bugging for saying Ant deserves to be 1? Why am I bugging for thinking Ant deserves to be in the conversation? And I was told, he's not ready yet. No. Now he's in the conversation.
He's always been in the conversation.
No, he's been in the conversation for top 3. I'll give you that. Yeah. I'm saying, why is he not in the conversation for the best?
Devin Booker's still better.
That Devin Booker?
Yeah, Devin Booker.
We just see 4 games. Now, don't get me wrong. Before I start slandering, that was
the hater. Before the hater come out,
McDaniels was giving that boy hell. Like I'm not gonna lie, not too many people can do anything with McDaniels.
And when you see players like you just talked about, Anthony Edwards being a top 3 player, what propels a guy over another guy in your estimation? When you watch a guy and you go, all right, he's past him. How does that work with you?
I look one game, just how is your game? How does your game stack up to everybody else? I look at and this is crazy. Aura / that dog in you. That is important. That dog in you is important. And most importantly, do you show up in big moments? Those are the biggest 3 things I look at when I'm talking about who's running a position, who's at the top of a position. Those are the main 3 for me. And since the start of, honestly, since the end of last season, since the NBA, the FIBA games or what the hell it was this offseason, since then, we've all said, yo, it's a shift with Ant. And there's obviously a shift with Ant. There's a perception, there's a narrative. More people are trying to be like gravitating to him. He's being pushed a little more. When the season started, you've seen it. They're starting to push Ant more. Ant-Man's getting pushed more. The Timberwolves, they don't look like you. They don't look like your big brother Timberwolves. This is like a different type of Timberwolves. And then the playoffs happen. And in the first round, Devin Booker versus Ant. Devin Booker, who I had number 1. A lot of people had number 1, but I said, hey, man,
boy.
I think Ant could be 1.
So is this enough though, Damo? I mean, don't get me wrong. He clearly I think he outplayed him in this series. I won't argue that. I think he outplayed him in this series. Does he have to go deeper into the playoffs to solidify that? Or was him in this playoff series, according to your logic, Is that enough? Where he outplayed him, and he was already in the conversation in your estimation, right? He was already in the conversation as a top 3 player. Because I don't subscribe to that notion that a guy just shows up and he better. I don't get with that. You already had him as a top 3 shooting guard. So now he outplays Devin Booker, who for most people, there are plenty of people who thought that he was the best 2 guard in the game. I wasn't one of those people, but that's another subject. But for him to outplay him, right? For him to outplay him, is this enough? Just this series, if he goes into the Denver series, because I think the Nuggets are going to beat the Lakers. If he goes into the Denver series and he's Book in that series, or a little bit better than Book, where he's like 19 a game, does he still stay there in your estimation, or has he still propelled Book?
I feel like every season, rankings can shift and move, and I'm going by a year thing. So going into next year, without a doubt, from the years I've seen between Ant and the years I've seen between Book and what both of them can do, for me, and I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm not trying to change anybody else's list. But for me, going into next year, when I'm asking who's the best shooting guard, or if I'm asked who's the best shooting guard, based on what I'm seeing so far, I'm most likely going to say Ant.